This is Thank You Mama, weekly lessons from mothers all around the world. Hello and welcome to Thank You Mama. My name is Anna Teider and my guest today is a teen mom, a business tycoon, a best-selling author, a coach, and a public speaker. She wrote a book called Beautiful Girl, You Can Do Hard Things. I love this. Which is teaching women to turn the pain into purpose. So hello, Sloane Ketchum, and welcome.
Hello. Hi, Anna. Thank you so much for having me. So excited to be here. And I just wanted to let you know that I love this podcast. I'm obsessed. I went through all the episodes and I'm just so grateful to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited to have you. And we didn't mention yet, you are talking to us from Hawaii.
I am. Aloha.
Aloha.
Yes. Yep.
Sloane, will you tell me more about what you do?
Absolutely. So I help women primarily to pursue the calling on their life and to turn their pain into purpose. And, those kind of sound like hooky, right? What I really do is I bring community together. So women that want to create something of their own, maybe, that's launch a business, maybe it's start a part-time, quote unquote hustle, right? And we have community. It's called the Speak Life Tribe. And we share tips and practices, best practices, and just really support each other. And that's what I do. And I'm a speaker and a coach and a mama. All the things. Yeah.
A mama of 3.
Yes.
You're a busy lady.
I am. I've got 3.
But as we just talked, you had your first child when you were 16, at the tender age of 16. So he's already grown up.
He is. So he is 22, just graduated from film school, lives in LA. And I was 16 years old when I had him. So I've been a mama for a lot of my life. Yeah.
How old are your other ones?
My daughter is 14 and my little guy is 9. So lots of time in between.
Yes.
Had to take that break, right? After I had my oldest son to finish school and go to college and do all of that. So, yeah.
Is there a lesson you've learned from being such a young mother? Is there anything you'd like to share with women from this experience?
Yeah, I would love to. Gosh, there's so many. But the one thing that I think was so important was that at 16 years old, right? I don't know why or how. For me, I just say, but by the grace of God, that I had something in me that said, hey, I'm going to have this little guy despite the odds, despite what people were telling me at the time. And mind you, my oldest son, his biological father at the time, was absent. And the relationship I was in with him was very abusive. But at 16 years old, there was something in me, right? I was like, I can figure this out. And honestly, I'll tell you, Anna, what happened was I kind of when I look back, right, I went through the pregnancy in that time with kind of blinders on. Like I saw the way people looked at me. I knew that this was, when my belly started showing in school, it was awkward and really made me feel uncomfortable and self-conscious. And mind you, I was a girl that was in advanced placement courses. I was still getting straight A's. Like I was not the quote unquote, what you would say, like typical girl that got pregnant, right? It's quote unquote not supposed to happen to me, right? And so I went through this experience, and what happened was I remember being in the hospital. I gave birth, and it's a thing when you're 16 and you're going to have a baby. There's a lot of people in the room, the doctors, the nurses, all the people. And I remember the room got quiet. Everybody kind of left, and my parents took a break. They went outside. Some of my cousins were there. The room got really silent, and I remember holding him in my hands, in my arms, and looking out that hospital window. And I made a promise to him. Made a promise to Mark, my son. I said, I will never give up on my dreams. Because for me, I knew that I had to show him that we are not our current circumstance. This, where we are right now, looks really bad. And the odds are telling us that we will be, I will be on welfare or whatever it is. I won't graduate from college. Will have another baby in the next 2 years. I will forever be relied upon. Like I will rely on government assistance. All these things were going on in the back of my head. And I held him and I just said, Mark, I will never give up on my dreams. And I promise you that we are not what the circumstance says that we are today. And so I set out to, I guess, kind of defy the odds. And I'm really proud to say, happy to say that I did. Beat the odds. When he graduated from high school, the same high school that I actually went to, there was this big sigh. Of relief. I'm not going to lie. It was like, oh, made it, right? And then when he got into college and he graduated from college, it was like, okay, we did it. And yeah, so I guess the lesson there, I'll just sum it up with saying the lesson is that no matter where you are in your hard thing, right? No matter what that looks like, number one, it's for a reason. And number two, you can't let that situation, that hard thing define you. You've got to have the vision for what the future is. And it will always be better.
But what I also love, Sloane, is that idea of moms pursuing their dreams even after they had their children. And this is what we talk a lot about in this podcast, how important that is for children as well. Because, we talk about the whole guilt thing, if you continue a career, if you continue following your dream and the whole thing, and how important at the end of the day that is. I'm often talking about my mom who had 2 parallel careers. She would never make my school lunches, and sometimes she would forget to pick me up from school, which sounds terrible. But now
I might have been guilty of that as well on Wednesdays. Only Wednesdays when it's a short day here in Hawaii. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. Oh, man.
But now looking back as a grown-up woman, I'm like, it is so much more valuable to me as a human being that I had her in front of my eyes and watched her do her things in her career and be independent and be happy and be fulfilled than having an awesome sandwich in my school bag,
Yeah. That's so interesting. And so you and I have a similar thing because my mom was a worker too. She was relentless at her work and she was proud of what she did. And she was a laboratory technician and, she was just a hard worker. She was always working. It's really expensive in Hawaii. You have to have double incomes here and people often actually work multiple jobs and have a side hustle, right? And you're right. And I think watching my parents, my dad was a hard worker as well, but watching them as kids, when we look at our parents, like we are watching what they do, not what they say.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I had that similar experience. My mom didn't make me lunches either. There was no lunches. She wasn't able to make it to all the functions, right? Like I remember seeing the other moms there, like, why can't my mom go on a field trip? My mom was like, I'm busy, honey,
But Sloane, before we go into Mom, Shelley, let's talk a little bit about Hawaii.
Okay, yes.
So I just learned a few things about Hawaii. I never knew, I knew about the bigger islands. I never knew Hawaii has 137 islands. These are many islands.
Yep. There are tons of islands all around us. The main island is the island that I live on, the island of Oahu. What people are often surprised about is there are about 1 million people on this island.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty crazy. If it sinks, that's why. No, just kidding. But oftentimes I think like, man, how many more people can this island take,
And Hawaii has its own language, Hawaiian, and it was an independent nation until 1898.
Yes.
It had its monarchy, and the last monarch was a queen. What was her name? I can't pronounce this. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Queen Liliuokalani.
Okay.
She was our queen, our last queen that was overthrown by the United States.
And then Hawaii became part of United States. When did we say?
1959, Hawaii officially became the 50th state.
But what's also interesting is how many different cultures live on Hawaii.
Oh, yes. 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 We were talking about that earlier. Yeah. So we've a very large Asian immigrant culture. So when the sugarcane fields were prevalent here on the island, a lot of Japanese and Chinese immigrants, also Filipino, I should say as well, immigrants came here, and Portuguese too. And they were field workers. So we have a vast culture. We call it here in Hawaii, it's like a mixed plate of food. Yeah, we've got a very interesting dynamic, a really interesting, rich culture. Yeah.
Sloane, so what are your roots?
My mom is Chinese, majority Chinese. She's got a little bit of Hawaiian in there. My grandpa was a little Hawaiian. And then my father was Hawaiian. So my grandmother, actually on my dad's side, was full Hawaiian. And then my mom's side, we'll just say, was full Chinese.
Do you speak any of the languages? Do you speak Hawaiian?
No, I can understand some Hawaiian words. I think that's just by osmosis and, growing up here, and I danced hula. So, hula is like our dance.
Yeah.
And so I can understand in that context, but I am not fluent in Olelo Hawaii. And then my mother's side, my grandmother understood and spoke Chinese, but never taught the kids. And I think that was kind of true back in that time with those immigrants. It was really important for them to assimilate and have their children to assimilate. Right. Yeah. So they didn't teach their native tongue because they wanted them to be a part of that culture. And back then, in my grandparents and my great grandparents' time in Hawaii, there was a lot of that. We are American now. Right. We've been annexed, we're now a state, and this repression of the Hawaiian culture for so long because of what happened when, the missionaries came and things like that. They banned the language. They banned Olelo Hawaii. They banned hula. They wouldn't let them dance their dance. And if you look back on pictures of our monarchy, of our queens and our kings, they actually were, I would say they were colonized. They were taught by the Europeans. So the Europeans came here and started schools and taught English, the language. A lot of our monarchy actually went over to Europe and spent time there. And they came back. And if you Google like a picture of Queen Liliuokalani, you'll see her in like European gowns.
I was surprised.
Yeah. It's like she has a palace here. And when you go to the palace and you walk in there, you're like, wow, am I in England? Like, this is crazy. Yeah, it's very interesting. Our culture is very, very complex and beautiful.
Beautiful. But I always think complex cultures and mixed cultures are the most beautiful and most interesting ones. But let's go to Mama Shelley. Tell me about Mama Shelley. Now we know that she is Chinese and Hawaiian and a laboratory technician.
Yeah, my mom, oh my gosh. So we affectionately call my mom Amma, and that's just because my oldest son couldn't say grandma when he was little. So she has become Amma Shelley. My mom was raised by an amazing dad. She had an amazing, amazing dad. Her mother, however, was really stuck in the old Chinese ways, where traditionally girls are not valued. They're not paid attention to. That part of the Chinese culture my grandmother brought with her. And so she really, neglected my mother. She didn't take care of her very well.
Did she have other children? Does your mother have siblings?
Yes. So she has a brother. She has a brother. Yeah. And her brother, my uncle, was, very well taken care of and loved and nurtured. And my mom was kind of just there, right? If it wasn't for my grandfather, her dad, my mom really thinks, she says a lot of the time she probably would have been lost. So she had a hard upbringing. She kind of raised herself. My mom would say, I care about your grade, growing up, I care about your grades. And she was always honest about her schoolwork and things, me and my sister. And it was because her mom never cared, unfortunately, never asked, how's your grades? What are you doing? Who's your friends? So my mom really grew up independently. She grew up kind of hard. And I think that's what really helped her and cultivated who she is today, because she was determined that she wasn't going to, when she had children, right, that she wasn't going to repeat that.
How many children did she have?
Me and my sister. So it's just the two of us.
And you got all the attention.
Yeah. Yeah. Me and my sister are, We were loved. We were loved. And my mom, they did the best that they could. My mom is there. I got to really just watch her turn into the most amazing grandmother as well. Like, and that support that she gave me, that her and my dad gave me when I was 16 and pregnant, is a testament to their hearts and who my mom really is. She's like that person that if you're down and out, she's there. Like, she is that person. And that's who my mom became for me. So the lesson, I guess, and I don't know if we're going there now, but
Well, let's go.
The lesson that I learned from my, okay, let's do it.
Let's do it.
The lesson I learned from my mom really was that you have the power to determine your future, right? It's similar to what, I guess when I think about it, wow. And when I had my son at 16, being in the hospital room and going, you know what, this current circumstance does not define my future. And that was kind of the same thing with my mom. She had a really rough upbringing, but yet she decided that that's not what the future of her was going to be. And that's not what she was going to pass on to her kids. Right? Like, she wouldn't make a mistake. You hear it sometimes. I've heard it like, well, I didn't have this when I grew up, or I didn't, or I lacked this, or this is just how things were, whatever it is. My mom never let that get in her way. And she decided that she was going to change the way she raised her daughters. And she did.
It's beautiful how things turn in circles. It's beautiful how you just mentioned that what she decided for herself is what you are passing on to your kids then. Yeah. That's really beautiful.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me process that, Anna. I think that's the first time I got to put that together there. Yeah.
We also talked about another lesson, which was changing opposing traditions. I think that's very, very important because so many girls and young women in the world today are still considered second-rate citizens, and I think it's very important to talk about these experiences and show examples like your mom's, where women do collect the courage to break these old traditions and say, no.
No more. Yeah, no more. Exactly. Yeah.
Did she have to fight to get educated?
Yeah, no. So actually, I was the first one. Well, there's only me and my sister. So I'm the oldest, but I was the first one to graduate from college in our family. Then my sister followed shortly after. My mom actually wasn't ever able to go to college. And she's something that she always would say that she regretted. So which is probably why it was such an emphasis for us to go and complete our schooling, because my grandma just didn't care. So my mom was never pushed or encouraged, I should say. My mom actually ended up going to like a trade school, a medical trade school, and learning the trade that she did. And she graduated, and she's very proud of the fact, and I'm proud of her too. She was just telling me this maybe a couple months ago. When she graduated, she at first was struggling because she had me and she was actually just trying to figure all of the things out, mom, and going back to school and starting a career, right? And but then she became like top of her class and and that's what she did for almost 30 years. And she is retired since. I think she's been retired for about maybe 5 years now. So she's living the dream now.
How is she doing? Is she happy?
She is doing amazing. Like, this is my mom right now. I can honestly say, like, this is the life she was meant to live right now. She helps us with our babies. She helps us with the kids. So she is my Shelley. She watches my sister's 2 little ones and helps me to take the kids to the activities and the sports. Well, when there was a lot of activities, and she plays pickleball. She loves to play pickleball.
I don't know what that is.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. It's like a rage. It's like a thing with our more mature folk. It's like a version of tennis, but the ball doesn't hit the ground. And there's like a little paddle. You have like a paddle.
Oh, okay.
She does tournaments. She's very competitive.
Oh, wow. Mama's living the life. How old is she now?
She is 65. No, 66.
How great is that? It always, I love hearing about these ladies who show to us that we don't have to be scared of older age.
She went by herself to like play the pickleball, to learn and she's so not afraid to just like she'll see something she wants to do, and then my mom will just go do it. Like she came to us one day and she was like, I'm going to learn how to play pickleball.
I love it.
She went down to the elementary school and made new friends. And now she has her pickleball friends. And that's what we call them.
I love it.
Yeah, I want to be like her when I grow up.
Me
for
too.
Sure.
Is your dad still around, Sloane?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. She makes him go shopping with her and does all those things. They're quite the cute pair, those two.
Sloane, we also talked about lessons she did not teach you.
Yeah, Anna, I really appreciated that question too. It really made me kind of think, right? Like, one of the things was that it's okay to not be okay, right? So my mom, because she wanted to make sure she broke that cycle and she was there for us, she didn't want us to fail. And I think, I don't really know how to put it into words. It just pained her so much to see us hurting or struggling, that maybe sometimes I would hide my hurt, or, I would put on the brave face because I didn't want her to know that I was having a hard time, because that just wasn't the language that we spoke. Does that make sense? Like,
it absolutely makes, yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I understand.
Thank you, Anna. It's like, okay, yeah. I think us women will get this. I don't know if I'm speaking code or what.
No. It's absolutely,
It's like this thing, right?
Yeah, I understand this. I think fathers are often like this, actually, as far as I can see, that children don't dare to show fathers, or maybe fathers used to be like that, older generations, where we didn't want our fathers to see us hurt or fail, and then we hid that side of our lives, and that's not healthy.
And it is something that I'm consciously aware of, actually, in just like, I'm going to say my practice, like in my business and in my personal life and with my children. It's like the constant conversation of it's okay to not be okay. Mm-hmm. I want to be with you in the dark.
Yes.
It's okay. Yes. I won't have the answers. I don't know exactly what to do. I'm your mom, though. I will try to find the resources and help and all those kind of things, right? Mm-hmm. But I can take it. It's okay. I want to be there in your dark. Mm-hmm. And that's a part of life. Like, that's why I wrote the book, You Can Do Hard Things, is not to tell my daughter, I really wrote it for her and all the other young girls and women out there, that to just say that hard things are a part of life. And when we lean into them, the gifts are there, but that it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to not be okay. Mm. And I want my daughter to have that kind of conversation, or that language, that I can cry and I can be fierce and strong, but I may be stronger in the moments of pain, if that makes sense. I don't know, but
it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I just started reading and then stopped. That's Life of a Mother. How many things do we start and then stop?
I know. So many.
I started reading an article about a scientist who is proving, I think I'm remembering this correctly, a scientist who is somehow proving that trauma often makes us stronger. I have to go back to it. Now that I'm thinking about this, I have to go back to this article. I think it was in The Atlantic or New York Times, about trauma making us stronger. And this is exactly what your book is about. And it's so important, especially in the dark moments. It's easy to be clever in hindsight, to look back and be like, that made me stronger. But it's especially important to know this while you're going through a hard time.
Yeah, it's true. And we all will go through them.
Yes.
At different time and space. And and so I think that I don't know, to kind of sum it up, I think that that's the one thing that my mom maybe didn't offer, but it was really because she wanted us to know that we were going to have to be strong in this world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think maybe I don't know if that's like that generation or, you know, my mom is a really strong woman. She's like, she's a dynamite, right? She's like super strong. And then I picked that up, and people would probably describe me as strong, you know, and fierce. And Sloane's that girl that just like, I will get in the ring. If you could see me now, like when I think of strong, like my hands go up and I'm ready to fight, you know. But the truth is that sometimes those that are the fighters and are the strongest and have the most vulnerable and like deepest souls or hearts, I don't know. And there's sometimes where I would want to say, and I want my daughter to have this language, like, I don't want to be strong today.
Give yourself permission.
Yeah, like I want to put my fist down. I want to relax my shoulders. And I don't want to fight today. I just want to have a glass of wine. Is that okay?
It's funny. I had a boyfriend once he was the only person who ever told me that in my life. And he said to me, you know, you have to accept that sometimes you can be weak. You allow yourself to be weak sometimes. It's such an important thing.
Yeah.
Important lesson.
Oh, those boyfriends.
Those boyfriends.
They leave us good lessons. Huh?
Oh, a new podcast. What have you learned from your boyfriends?
Oh my gosh. That would be
hilarious
and amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I love it. That is too funny.
Too funny. Sloane, thank you so much for these amazing, amazing things we've learned today. Do you have anything else you'd like to share?
Gosh, no, I mean, I just want to, again, just thank you. This was an awesome conversation, and really wow, I got to process some things. So I'm excited to actually listen back and go, oh, okay, that's how that circle comes together.
I love it.
Just thank you for having these amazing, amazing conversations, Anna. Yeah.
And thank you for reaching out and being my guest. I'm very excited about this. If you enjoy Thank You Mama and want to help it grow, please take the 2 seconds to leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It really helps. If you'd like to get in touch, you can send me a mail at info@thankyouMama.net. You can also find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter under Anna Teider. That's Tajder. This was Thank You Mama. Come back next week, subscribe, and tell your friends.